Hi, everyone. Again, I said this is not a brand new lesson, but I did just want to discuss what I sent you guys in case there's any questions. Also, there will be a Zoom tomorrow if you have any questions for me as well. Okay, so I think the best way to do this is to just show you guys what I sent you and briefly discuss it. So give me a second. I did want to say I hope everyone's staying safe out there. Please, stay home. Don't go down and do the looting and get in trouble. That part's not worth it. If the protesting part, I would argue that's worth it, but we're getting people who are taking advantage of that and looting, and I don't want to see you guys in trouble, to be honest, or hurt or injured or even dead. And the situation right now is pretty scary, honestly. Anyway, so hold on. Let me go. I'm going in my drive right here. And hold on. Open it up in a second. Oh, I got to go out to eat for the first time this weekend up in Lake Arrowhead. Still kind of a weird experience, but we did actually get to eat at the restaurant, which was honestly pretty exciting at this point. So I thought I'd share that. So here we go. And I did discuss this already briefly with you guys, but I didn't have the documents out there for you. So let's just go over it briefly. Now, your essay must be, I want it to be at least 3 paragraphs and include an introduction and a conclusion. The introduction and conclusion don't need to be full paragraphs. A few sentences is fine for both, but I still want it to have an organized format. So you need to tell me what you're talking about in the paragraph, and you need to close it with something as well. And importantly, all 5 of the plot parts must be covered in what you're writing about. And those are setting and exposition, rising action, climax, falling action, and resolution. Now remember, you are explaining these from the angle of Shakespeare. So Macbeth. I don't just want to know what these are in a story. I want to know what they are in this particular story. What is the setting of Macbeth? I asked you that at the very beginning. A very simple answer is Scotland. I would like you to go a little further in depth, like, maybe kind of what time period does it seem to entail, things like that. Now, the plot points must be used to explain the plot of Macbeth as read by me, favorite tales from Shakespeare. Now, you can go back and listen to me read it. There's also a lot of stuff online that can help you out with Macbeth. It is a very famous story. It's been around since the 1500s. There's a lot of information on it. I actually did add the rubric to this assignment, so please look at the rubric. The rubric explains to you exactly what I'm looking for, and it's very important that it's proper grammar. All right, and it is due by June 8th. This week I am grading everything. That's what I get to do this week, so I don't have to actually redo lessons and all that sort of thing. So I was grading 5th period today. I'm just going to keep grading all week, so you're going to be seeing grades put in all week long, just to give you a heads up. So I'm going to go over and show you the other one. So if you guys recall, I said you have 2 choices. You can write, or you can do something that's illustration. Now, again, I want you to remember, illustration does not necessarily mean you have to draw. So I'm not a particularly good artist, but I do consider myself to be kind of crafty. And you may be good with the computer, finding pictures, finding graphics, and this is perfectly fine. This is still an illustration. And for some of you, I really think that will be more fun, more creative, and it'll be fun for me to actually look at too. Something a little different. I get to see more of your creativity, which I would love. Hold on, opening it up for you. Hopefully it's opening up. There we go. So this one is also going to cover the same items, okay? You need to actually address every plot point. That's still important. So each plot part should have an illustration at least 5 items in the drawing, picture, or collage. Now, what I mean by that, so let's say you are talking about the rising action. There's going to be more than one element of the rising action. For example, some of the witches. So maybe you draw witches over here, or you put collage of the witches over here. And it doesn't necessarily mean it has to be completely cohesive and go together, but each picture you draw references some rising action. So when the witches talk to Macbeth and really get him thinking about wanting to be king, that sort of thing. Each plot point should have 2 to 3 complete sentences describing what the picture is portraying. I want to know what your picture is portraying, because if you do go kind of like modern art or just it's not entirely clear, I just want to know, I know what you're trying to relay to me. So I do want to give some creative freedom here, but I want to make sure I understand what you're trying to say. They can be put in a Google slide, or if you're really proud of your work, we'll Zoom it. We can Zoom it next week. Zoom it when it's before that, if it's done. It can be a private Zoom, doesn't have to be all with your classmates. So keep that in mind. And then also, again, the 5 plot points are setting, exposition, rising action, climax, falling action, resolution. And these are the plot points from what I read to you, as from the favorite tales of Shakespeare, the story of Macbeth. And again, there are a lot of places you can find the story of Macbeth. So don't think you're at a loss here as far as figuring it out. But it is important to know what the plot parts of a story are and how the story is written. Okay. And again, this actual, there's a rubric added for this as well. I guess I could go over what the top score would entail, but you can also look at it. So I'll go over it, but I would suggest you look at it as well. So let's go ahead and go over to the rubric. I didn't make the rubric extremely difficult. I believe each one only has actually 4 items on it, if I'm not mistaken. So give me a second so I can pull out a rubric so you guys can see it. Now, again, this is all added to the same assignment. Just to make it clear, you are choosing one or the other. You're not doing both. You're only either doing the illustration project or the writing project. Don't try to do both. Okay, so let me give you an example of, okay, open up. This is the rubric. Again, this is attached. This one's for the illustration. Now, in class, I normally would have you actually read the 4 out loud. Here we go. Topic was completely addressed. All 5 plot points are clearly portrayed in their own illustration, and each one is explained in 2 or 3 sentences. Okay, this is the expectation. Design, layout, and organization. Content was well organized. Text and graphics were neatly organized and made the project easy to read. Design, creativity, and originality. Design was unique and interesting, used more than 5 original items. Drawing had at least 5 parts to the picture. Writing conventions. No spelling, grammar, capitalization, or punctuation errors. Sentences are well formed. So you remember those 2 to 3 sentences? I want them to be scholarly sentences. And then writing and organization. All ideas were presented clearly, precisely, and in logical order. So when you showed me the pictures, we didn't go backwards and forward, that sort of thing. And also when you explain what you were explaining, you explained it in a clear, concise manner. So this is actually for the illustration rubric. And okay, so now let's go ahead and look at the writing one. Just give it a second. Let's see, back in the drive. Okay, so that was the illustration. Looking for the other one. All right, here it is, writing. Oh, where'd it go? There it is. No, you can write. No, that's the writing project. I need the writing rubric. Writing rubric? No. Hold on. There it is. Okay. So if you decide to go with the writing, the 3 paragraphs, then it's going to be correct spelling, grammar, punctuation. So no spelling, grammar, capitalization, or punctuation errors. It's very important. Sentences are well formed. You're using sophisticated sentences. You're not doing run-ons. They all have subjects. They all have verbs. This is kind of the stuff we've been practicing through distance learning. Writing organization. All ideas were presented in a logical order. Introduction was clear. Body included many details and summarized main idea. Writing flowed smoothly throughout. All 5 of the plot points of Macbeth were thoroughly explained. Writing word choice. Use scholarly and topic-specific vocabulary. Word choice was highly descriptive and specific. Writing sentence fluency. Most sentences varied in length and structure. Writing is a natural flow that made it easy to read. So this is only 3 paragraphs, and what you're writing out is actually quite clear once you know what each plot point was. So I want you to really focus on how it looks, how it flows, how smooth it is, how good an essay it is. Okay, so I want to just go over those things with you. And honestly, I will probably go over them again tomorrow during the Zoom meeting, particularly if there's any questions. So again, I hope you guys are staying safe. And I want to see you all tomorrow.